Back to BiochemVerse by Hammad. I hope you all are doing great and continuing your journey in understanding biochemistry step by step. In our previous lecture, we discussed water and pH, biochemical buffer systems, and today we are moving forward with another fundamental topic, that's the carbohydrates. So, carbohydrates. You might have heard the word carbs in daily life. People say avoid carbs or carbs give you energy. But what exactly are carbohydrates at the molecular level? How do they function in our cells? In this lecture, we'll explore everything from their structure and classification to their biological significances and also the types of carbohydrates. By the end of this lecture, you will understand not only what carbohydrates are, but also why they are so essential for every living organism on earth, from bacteria to humans. So, the key contents of this lecture our introduction to carbohydrates. As I have mentioned before, that we'll explore everything from their classifications and structure to their biological significance and also their types, the basic types of carbohydrates. So let's move forward. The introduction to biochemistry of carbohydrates. What's carbohydrates are? Let's start with the basics. Carbohydrates are organic molecules. They contain carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The general formula is mentioned as here: CN whole H2N whole N. So gives us a clue that these are literally hydrates of carbon. Okay, means hydrate mean water. Hydration, dehydration. As we listen about these terms, we hear these terms in our daily life. He got dehydration, he got dehydrated. So hydrate mean water, and hydrates of carbon means carbon with water. So according to their general formula, they are literally hydrates of carbon. For example, if you take glucose, its molecular formula is C6H12O6, exactly fitting this pattern. And all the other classifications of carbohydrates, other key molecules of carbohydrates are also in the same pattern. So carbohydrates are also known as sugars and saccharides. So sugars and saccharides, from the Greek word saccharin means sugar. There are carbohydrates are generated from the Greek words. The most of the scientific words are from the Greek background, because Greek history is has a strong history according to the science. So the Greek word saccharin means sugar. So they are the sugar. Basically, these are the sugar, as I have mentioned before, that these are sugar. So but don't think of carbohydrates as just sweet tasting. They also include non-sweet structure molecule like cellulose in plant. If you ever had chance to taste it, but biochemically, carbohydrates are the primary source of energy for living cells. When you eat rice, bread, or fruit, your body converts these carbohydrates into glucose for energy, which rely exclusively on glucose for energy, into glucose, which fuels every cell in your body, especially the brain and red blood cell, which rely exclusively on glucose for energy. So interestingly, even though fats yield more energy per gram, carbohydrates are the preferred energy source because they can be rapidly broken down and used immediately. So fats take time and take more energy to be broken down for getting energy. So in short, carbohydrates are the body's main fuel, quick, efficient and vital. Moving forward, so main energy source of the body, carbohydrates. The functions of carbohydrates, the biological roles. Carbohydrates. What's now? Let's talk about the functions of carbohydrate. Why are they so important biologically? First of all, the energy source. The most immediate function of carbohydrates is energy production. When we consume carbohydrates, enzymes in our digestive system break them down into glucose. This glucose enters our bloodstream and is taken up by cells to produce ATP, the energy currency of the cell through glycolysis and the Krebs cycle. In the metabolism, we will learn about it for the breakdown of glucose towards the energy currency ATP through a series of reactions. First of all, glycolysis, then the Krebs cycle, then electron transport chain, and then it's converted into the ATP. So that will be discussed in the our next lectures of metabolism. For instance, when you eat a banana or drink juice, within minutes your blood glucose level rises. Okay, providing quick energy to your muscles and brain. When you go to the doctor, they also recommend you to check your sugar and glucose level while a diabetic patient for a diabetic patient with a empty belly, empty stomach, and with a filled stomach. So after taking their meal, they should have to check their sugar, and without taking meal, empty stomach, they should check their glucose level, like sugar level. So number second, the main function of carbohydrate is the energy storage. As they are the energy source, they are also as a energy storage. Energy source is another type and energy storage is some other thing. Animals including humans store glucose in the form of glycogen, mainly in the liver and muscles. Plants store it as starch found in foods like potatoes, corn, and grains. When your body needs energy between meals or during exercise, glycogen is broken down to glucose. So, it will also you will see and learn in the metabolism of carbohydrates. You will learn about the breaking of glycogen to glucose. Then glucose is breaking through a series of reactions, as I have mentioned before: glycolysis, Krebs cycle, electron transport chain. Then it will go through all these reactions. First of all, glycogen is storage. It breaks down into glucose, and glucose breaks down into ATP. That's the main energy source that we used for the energy. So the number second is the structural role. As I mentioned here, cellulose, plant cell walls, chitin, fungal cell walls, and insects exoskeleton. So we elaborate it like carbohydrate also forms structure frameworks. Cellulose is the most abundant organic compound on earth. It builds plant cell wall, as I mentioned here, that cellulose related to the plant cell walls. Chitin and other polysaccharide provide structures in insects and fungi. So these molecules are tough and insoluble, showing that carbohydrates aren't just about energy. They can also build strong biological structures. So number four is about cell recognition and signaling. Glycoprotein and glycolipids in aid in the immune responses. So elaborate it that carbohydrate chain attached to the cell membrane with many proteins and lipids. Many proteins and lipids in our cell membrane have carbohydrate chains attached, forming glycoproteins and glycolipids. These are used for cell recognition. For example, they help our immune system distinguish between our own cell and foreign pathogen. Is it's a pathogen it's our body cell, or it's some external cell moving inside our body and in our cell, then the other immune system become active and gives the immune responses. So these are used for cell recognition. So the blood group system, ABO blood group system, is also based on carbohydrate structures on red blood cell surface. So carbohydrates are far more versatile than most people realize. They store energy, build structure, and even help cell communicate. So moving forward, about the classification of carbohydrates, means types of carbohydrates. Mainly these are the monosaccharides, disaccharides, oligosaccharide, and polysaccharides. So carbohydrates are classified according to the number of sugar units they contain. Classified on the number of sugar units containing monosaccharide, disaccharide, oligosaccharides, monosaccharide, disaccharide, oligosaccharide, polysaccharides. So on the number of sugar units they contain, the simplest are monosaccharide containing just one sugar unit. These are building blocks of all other types. When two monosaccharides join, they form disaccharide. Chains of 3 to 10 monosaccharides are called oligosaccharides, and long chain containing hundred to thousands of units of monosaccharides are called polysaccharides. So think of it like words. A monosaccharide is like a single letter, a disaccharide is a word, and a polysaccharide is like a full paragraph. So I think you got it, like, in this sequence. This will help you realize how biological complexity builds from simple repeating units. The beauty of carbohydrate chemistry is that the same basic glucose molecule can link in different ways to form totally different structure. For instance, starch and cellulose both contain glucose but have different linkages, leading to completely different physical properties. So moving forward, we will discuss about number one, the monosaccharides. So monosaccharides, as we have discussed before, the monosaccharides are the single unit sugar, a simplest sugar that cannot be further hydrolyzed. So monosaccharides are the simplest carbohydrates. They can't be broken down by any further by hydrolysis. They are usually classified by the number of carbon atom. Trioses have 3 carbon, pentoses have 5, hexoses has 6 carbons. So move forward, heptoses and like this one, but it's confined to the hexoses. The major form are the hexoses. Another way to classify them is based on the type of carbonyl group represented. If they have an aldehyde group, they are aldoses. If they have a ketone group, they are ketoses. Glucose is an aldose, while fructose is ketose. I will mention also the structures of glucose and fructose here. So, monosaccharide can exist in linear or cyclic form. In solution, most naturally occur in cyclic form, forming either a alpha or beta configuration. These forms are extremely important biologically. For example, the difference between alpha and beta glucose determines whether a molecule becomes digestible like starch or indigestible like cellulose. Fun fact is about I want to mention here a fun fact about it, that the sweetness we taste from honey or fruits is due to these simple sugar, mainly fructose, which is even sweeter than glucose. So this was the monosaccharides. Moving forward, the disaccharides, their formation and examples. When two monosaccharides join together through a glycosidic bond, they form a disaccharide. The glycosidic bond is forming through a dehydration reaction, meaning one molecule of water is released during the process. Common examples will include the sucrose, our table sugar formed from glucose and fructose. Lactose is mainly found in milk made from glucose and galactose. And the other one is maltose, formed during starch digestion, made from two glucose molecules. So sucrose is of glucose fructose, and lactose is of glucose galactose, and maltose is formed of glucose plus glucose. Each of these disaccharides have its own significance. For example, people who are lactose intolerant lack the enzyme lactase, which break down lactose into its monosaccharide components. This lead to digestive discomfort. This shows how even small changes in carbohydrate metabolism can affect health. All these things, health issues, we'll discuss in the first. We'll discuss all the metabolism of carbohydrates in our further lectures, and then we'll discuss the disease relating to the defects in the metabolism of any biomolecule leading to any disease in our clinical biochemistry. So next time you add sugar to your tea, remember you are actually consuming a disaccharide molecule combining glucose and fructose through a precise biochemical linkage. So moving forward, the polysaccharides. The polysaccharides are large complex carbohydrates. As I mentioned before, it's a paragraph. Letter, word, and the paragraphs. Letter word monosaccharides, disaccharides were paragraph, and polysaccharides. So, polysaccharides are large complex carbohydrates composed of hundreds or thousands of monosaccharide units. There are two main categories: storage polysaccharides and structure polysaccharides. So, first of all, the storage polysaccharides, plants store carbohydrates as starch, which is a mixture of amylose and amylopectin. When we eat starchy food like rice or potatoes, enzymes like amylase break starch into glucose. Animals, including humans, store carbohydrates as glycogen, primarily in the liver and muscles. During fasting or exercise, glycogen is broken down to release glucose into the blood. The second one is structural type of polysaccharides, structure polysaccharides. Cellulose is a structural component of plant cell walls, even though it's made entirely of glucose. Human can't digest it because we lack the enzyme cellulase. As the enzymes are like compound name and ends with ase. Cellulose is a compound, and the enzyme which digests it is cellulase, and will lack it. So another important structure carbohydrate is chitin, which forms the exoskeleton of insects and uh, fungi, and also found in the fungi of cell wall. Unlike simple sugars, polysaccharides are insoluble and non-sweet. So as I mentioned before, the cellulose is not sweet. If you got a chance to taste it, then you can taste it. These complex carbohydrates show how versatile glucose can be. The same basic unit forming either soft digestible starch or rigid fibrous cellulose, depending on how it's linked. So functionality, about provide energy storage and structure support. So the biological importance and the summary. So to wrap up, let's review the biological importance of carbohydrate. And it will be the source of energy, structure, function, genetic material, dietary fiber, biological importance, and summary and conclusion. So to wrap up, let's review the biological importance of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are essential for energy production. They fuel cellular respiration and are critical in maintaining blood glucose hemostasis. They are also vital structural component, forming cell walls in plants and bacteria and connective matrices in animals. On the genetic level, sugars like ribose and deoxyribose form the part of RNA and DNA molecule, meaning carbohydrates are literally part of our genetic material. So they are entered in every field of our body. There are the different fields in our country, like government fields, federal, non-federal, and some others. There are also fields in our body, they are from the education field, they are from the medical field, they are from the uh, some other fields. So their carbohydrates are linked to every field. They are even entered in our genetic material. In our diet, fibers like cellulose, though indigestible, improve digestion and help regulate blood sugar and cholesterol. They will help in the digestion, cellulose have the fibers will prevent the constipation. Mainly the thing to consume fibers we consider is to enhance our digestion. That will prevent main effect that will be happen is the for digestion is constipation, and it helps to relieve us from the constipation. So to summarize, monosaccharides are the simpler unit, disaccharides are pair of monosaccharides, polysaccharides are complex storage or structure molecules. So next time you hear the word carbs, think of them not just as a food component but as the very biochemical framework of life. That's all for today's lecture. I hope this session helped you understand the beauty and complexity of carbohydrates. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe to BiochemVerse by Hammad on YouTube, and on Facebook it's with the name uh, Hammad Bashir Khan in bracket BiochemVerse. So in our next session we'll explore lipid, fats, oils and biological membranes. Until then, stay curious and stay learning. Allah Hafiz. See you in the next lecture.